Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now for tonight's sponsor. Do you have regrets? Is there something that you wish you could change? Or something that you could do that's in the past? Is there a love lost that needs to be found? At Marty's Time Machine Emporium, we can help you with this. We have time machines for every pocketbook. We have TARDISes and DeLoreans, phone books and hot tubs, refrigerators, and for those budget-minded people, we have suitcases, boxes, and more, all here at Marty's Time Machine Emporium, where the past can be your future. And there's my... There's the happy one you were asking for.
Yeah, there's a good spot. I mean, I like the... Yeah, that's pretty good.
Do you understand why I put all those time machines in there? Those
of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're definitely time machines. If anybody out there doesn't know it, they're time machines from...
Have them put them in the comments.
Oh, I should put them in the comments.
No,
okay.
They should put them in the comments.
They should put it in the comments.
Come on.
Hey,
now,
you
engagement, man.
Viewers. Tell me what those time machines are from that I said in the sponsor. I should do that more. That's a good call, Crit. All right. Now for today on the podcast, we are on the topic for this month, which is movies that make us think of others in the podcast. And this week we are talking about John's pick, the 1985 movie Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Thomas F. Wilson, Claudia Wells, and Crispin Glover. Let's talk about this movie, guys.
All right, first thing.
Yes.
Who does this movie remind you of, John?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a mix of both, right? So this is the one that was kind of both. So one of them was Crit, one of them was Josh, and this one was both of you. And It's the combo of Marty and the Doctor. Doc Brown.
Okay.
And Doc Brown is definitely Crit, but it's not entirely the whole film. Like Crit's, Doc Brown to a T, or you're Marty to a T. It's the scene where he's talking about the power, and he's like 21 gigawatts, and he like freaks out, and just that whole conversation back and forth about the power needed and no, plutonium doesn't exist here. Like, it just reminds me of some of the conversations we've had about tech, or about like how how you guys set up networks and stuff like that you've had around the table, or Kayani. So that's what it reminds me of. So that's where I get that reminder.
God, now I'm old.
Awesome. You're the old one.
I mean, he wasn't super old in this one.
No, he wasn't.
No, he's not.
He's super old now, though.
Well, I mean, yeah.
What, he's in his 80s or something like that, and yet he's going to be doing something with the Rick and Morty type thing. I don't know if that's a real thing or not. It feels like it's real, but
the live action.
Yeah,
he did a spot for it. I don't know if they're doing anything bigger, but
yeah, exactly.
Well, dude, he did something for BYU TV too.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. BYU TV had like some drama show with Christopher Lloyd in it. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Granite Flats. So it was a family drama.
Granite Flats.
Yeah, It was on BYU TV and had Christopher Lloyd and Carrie Elwes from Princess Bride on there too.
That's actually one of their more popular series. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Really?
it was
Never heard of it.
Well, doesn't surprise me.
No.
Unless you have BYU TV, you do not know.
I didn't even know there was such thing as BYU TV. I mean,
it's a thing.
Yeah,
that's where Studio C comes from. If you've heard of Studio C.
Oh, I know. Everybody around here is like, you got to watch Studio C. It's so funny. And I'm like, yeah, guys, it's not that funny. I mean, it's okay for a sketch comedy thing, but like,
yeah. No,
that's exactly where it comes from.
And I'm in the same boat with you, Crit. Like, the constraints they have to follow means their comedy is not really that organic to me, and just doesn't flow. Yeah. Speaking of comedy and doesn't flow, I was reading up a little bit on this film.
Segue.
Great segue.
No, I was trying to think about it, but no, this actually is a good segue because we're talking about comedy that doesn't flow. The guy they got to play Marty McFly before Fox,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Eric Stoltz got basically kicked off the film. Like, how would you feel? I was reading about that. I was like, how would you feel? It's like, oh, you're not good enough. We're gonna go get Fox. Like, you're just not good enough. Sorry.
Well, did you see that? Okay, they say that they were only into it like, just a little ways, but there's actual evidence that they actually did almost 3/4 of the movie with Eric Stoltz before
reshooting.
Yeah, they did. It cost $4 million to reshoot everything that they had done.
Yeah, well, and then Fox's pay on top of that too. So
yeah, and he was still doing Family Ties at the time, so he was doing both at the same exact time. He would do Back to the Future at night and Family Ties in the day.
So it was just bonkers. Like, how would you feel? It's like, I'm sorry, you're just not up to it. Like that's gotta hurt. That's gotta be like.
They've actually done interviews with Stoltz on that, and he's just like, well, he goes, everything they said, he says he kind of agrees with. Like, you look at, he just admits that he didn't fit exactly what they were going for, and I think he was a little bitter at first, from what it sounded like. He was a little bitter at first, of course, but I think in time it's come that he's kind of come around to understand, because if you watch the outtakes, there's actually outtakes on YouTube on this, like full portions of him being Marty, and you can actually see him that it's just the delivery of it is just a little bit more standard. Like he's a little bit more of the straight man, more so than he needs to be, unlike what Michael J. Fox is doing.
So I can't imagine this movie without Fox.
Right, because if you look at Stoltz,
it's one of those other roles. Movies, it's one of those roles where he fits. It's the same thing with Christopher Lloyd. I can't imagine anyone else in Lloyd's shoes. Like, these roles, they fit so well. And
I heard he was a first choice for that particular part and stuff. And Michael J. Fox also was the first choice for Marty, even though they couldn't get him because of Family Ties. That's why they brought in Stoltz and his serious, a little bit more serious take on Marty McFly.
Well, Family Ties, and I think budget played a role too, because he was expensive.
I mean, could you imagine if they replaced Lloyd with like Sean Connery or something?
No.
That'd be great.
I can't think of anybody else.
Marty. This is a nuclear submarine. It wouldn't be a DeLorean anymore. It'd be a submarine. and it'd just be a sequel to Hunt for Red October. Or a prequel. Goodness. I guess a prequel at this point, because it was in 1985.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that would even come close to the delivery of Doc Brown as Christopher Lloyd was. It's just amazing. But
I love his Libyan nationals, like that whole scene. It's the Libyans.
It's ridiculous.
like don't you know? I lose it every time when he's like, it's the Libyans.
In the VW bug.
Yeah.
Is that like characteristic of Libyans in 80s? I don't remember.
I think they needed a vehicle that a guy could stand out the top of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Without breaking their budget.
Yeah.
This was probably some intern's VW bug or something.
Maybe it's an inside joke. It's like the most peace-loving, iconic van has a bunch of super radical
Libyan nationals.
Shooting guns out.
Give us our plutonium back. Oh, man. It was just hilarious. Like, I love that whole scene. It's like, look, I filled it with pinball machine parts, and like he's just so proud of himself for what he's pulled the wool over their eyes, and he's like super surprised. Oh man, it was great.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie so much.
So again, did you caught on to the swearing though, right? Because my tagline for this was, who knows that it swears so much, and I'd forgotten like how much Back to the Future actually swears and doesn't drop the F-bomb or anything like that, obviously. No. But 1985 PG, like there was lots of dams and
Yeah, damn it, George, swear, damn it.
basically. I mean, lots of that. So I mean, it was just interesting to me, and I think they used everyone right. Like I didn't feel like it was gratuitous at all. It fit what they were acting. Like it wasn't like tacked on or anything like that. But it's still interesting if you forget about it.
When you're about to run into a dump truck full of manure, you yell "oh shit" and it makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
you don't. Yeah.
That scene always makes you laugh when you watch it on TV. Oh, and you see him saying shit, but crap. It just makes me laugh so hard on that one for some reason every time.
There's another film like that where you can audibly see or say the F word, and it's Galaxy Quest. Where Sigourney Weaver's character audibly, she says the F word, and in the movie you can see it's the F word she's saying, but they dub it over with a different word. That's what it reminds me.
They were going for a R rating originally, yeah, on that one, and then they kind of changed it midway.
I think it was a smart move to change it to PG-13.
Yeah, I agree.
So
even though in the outtakes and they took away a lot more Sigourney Weaver cleavage too and stuff.
Well, so if this
which is not a good thing.
If this came out today, this would be a PG-13 film.
You think
I would think so.
Really? Because except for the swearing, there's not a lot here.
Almost.
There's suggestive. Yeah, I guess it's the suggestive nature of the mom and son thing, and then the swearing maybe. And then Doc Brown getting shot up to heck.
Biff is basically like
basically
like raping her, basically.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So that would probably be.
At least it's heavily suggested that's what's going on. I think a little bit more than heavily suggested.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's exactly what's going on. And I could see, I guess, for maybe a PG-13. They, I guess when you start adding that little bit more risque humor and situations like that, it's definitely.
Well, there's no science to ratings anyway, so
yeah.
Who knows
what it'd actually be?
Yeah, what it'd actually be.
Yeah, exactly. And so that reminds me of one of my favorite scenes is when he's talking about they're sitting there at the clothesline, and he goes and Crispin Glover goes to Marty. You mean you're gonna touch her on her? And he's holding that bra on his finger. No. I always love that. Get a kick out of that.
Yeah, good physical comedy.
Yeah,
I love when he comes to the realization about his dad too. He's like, Dad's a peeping Tom. Like just that. Oh, that's the real story. That's what's really going on. Oh no. Like he already does not respect his dad that much. So like add that to it and it didn't really work out.
Let me ask you this, guys. This is a question that comes up a lot when people talk about Back to the Future. There's a lot of people out there that say, and tell me if you agree or disagree and why you disagree on this.
Oh no, I would never do that.
No, what? That would be. It's so against what you do. People say this is almost a perfect movie and stuff. Why would you disagree with what people would say about this being almost a perfect movie? Because I go back and forth with saying what it is. Now, there's things I definitely could pick on, but why do you think people say that, and why do you think it's not possibly? Just throw that out there. Just a humdinger out there.
All right.
What do you think? I'll go for my side of it. I do think that it's a very, very close to a perfect comedy movie. I mean, the way that everything kind of the continuity, or how it like meshes together, how good the comedy is. There's nothing that's really a dud in there when it comes to the comedic performances. The story I think is well taught, well done. There's not really any one thing I struggle with sometimes is, if you got an action movie and then there's like a real slow spot for a long time, like a lot of people say with Tron and stuff like that, even though I love that movie so much. I don't feel like there's lulls like that in this movie either. That, those are a few things I could say that this is, I wouldn't say it's a perfect movie, but it's one of the more perfect movies out there when it comes to comedy and action and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
Do I want to give out a coveted near perfect movie rating?
Well, you can give out as many as you want, so it's not like you can only give out one.
I feel I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the more I give out, the more it cheapens the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, if you ever watch you've watched the British Bake Off, the handshakes.
Yeah,
every week.
Yeah,
it's on
the handshakes that what's his face gives out.
Paul Hollywood.
Paul Hollywood. They're super coveted, and then he started doing them all the time, and it just lost its power.
Not recently. It's been a while since I seen one happen. So
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, but this is in my opinion, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I honestly watch this maybe once a month.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, but when I want to, you've talked to me, Crit, about movies or things that you turn on in the background while you're working and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is one of those for me. Huh. I might not be paying attention all the time because I know it so well, but I have it on the background when I do it, and then I can look up when I need a second and kind of laugh at a part or something like that because I know what's going on.
I guess it depends on what you mean by perfect movie, because there are, especially on this watch, mm-hmm. I agree with you. It's a very entertaining movie, but especially on this watch, I didn't have I had many times where I was just out of the movie going, why would you do that? Like that's just a dumb decision. It's not like, I feel like for me, a perfect movie would be something like we get to the end of the movie and I was in rapture the whole time, right? Like I was not thinking about the production. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was just like, I was in the story. I was with the characters. I was there, for mm-hmm. me, that's that like utopian goal, which may or may not ever be reached. But, that would be a movie I would consider perfect for me. Like,
is that from like adult Crit or do you say that also from when you're younger? Because I definitely have different feelings about it from when I was younger to now.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I liked simpler things. I mean, mm-hmm. that's just part of growing up. So like, if you'd asked me when I was 10, yeah, it probably would have been pretty high, but so would, the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is not even the best Ninja Turtles movie. So so I don't know if 10-year-old me is really equipped to answer that question well.
Well, and I just asked that question because, I mean, it definitely has changed for me. I if you would ask me, like, say, 15 years ago or something like that, I might have said it was a little bit more perfect. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I just think it's one of the better ones, or that's closer to that goal. I mean, if you're talking about most comedies.
I mean, if you're talking, like, it's not even my favorite comedy. So like, if that's the case, then no, it's not a perfect movie.
What would you classify this one as? You think?
Well, I mean, we aren't giving ratings yet, but
no, like just classify like the genre, like particular, like, is it action? Is it comedy? Is it,
Yeah. Well, it's like comedy sci-fi sort of.
Okay.
Because the sci-fi is integral to the story and the plot. I mean, it's a time travel story, right?
Yeah.
And I think the way they hit all, as far as like a popcorn movie, pure entertainment, I think they hit all the notes well, and they really did kind of wrap the storyline up really nicely, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, it's very satisfying movie in the sense that when you get to the end of the movie, everything makes sense. The whole package is wrapped up nice. I think you said that earlier, right? I think they did a good job with the screenwriting. And
whether there was a continued or not, because if you remember, right. if you've done the the research, if you remember that the original movie, of course, didn't have to be continued at the end. They added that to the VHS release.
Right.
Yeah. And then every movie progressed, then the second one was in the theater as well.
Yeah. And from if you enjoyed the production of that, like, if you're and you're like, I mean, that's basically a giant dare against the studio to have an
mm-hmm.
ending like that, where you're like, we have this whole setup of like going to the future with everybody about, Marty's kids and everything else like that. And you're like,
you better fund us.
Yeah. You're just like, okay, here's what and it's
kind of like what they did with Dune just recently. I mean,
yeah, kind of. I was thinking more along the lines of like Roddenberry and the how he weaponized the fandom to get.
Oh
what he
yeah,
wanted.
with Star Trek, the original,
Right.
to get a third season. Yeah,
Right, to get a third season. It feels like the same thing. Like the movie makers weaponized the ending in order to get basically a sign off eventually. I mean, look, if you end the movie without that, like him just going off to the lake and everything's good, like that could be okay, right? Like it'd be an okay movie. The ending would be fine. Like just sticking that in there of him coming back from the future and then, taking them off. I mean, that's a really good way to essentially create a hunger in the audience for answers. And that's a really good way to get a second movie funded, I feel.
And it was.
Yeah, and it was, yeah.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that Steven Spielberg's a producer right behind you too.
Sure. But,
that doesn't guarantee it still, though.
Yeah, it doesn't guarantee anything.
It just adds a little bit more weight than there would have been otherwise. Yeah, but
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't, for me personally, I couldn't call it a perfect movie.
Yeah, great. That's why I asked the question. I just wanted to know what your feelings of a lot of what, because a lot of people throw that around with this movie.
Well, I guess the problem is I don't really care about a perfect movie. Like I don't know what that. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
I don't know exactly what they mean by it either.
If they're like, I really love this movie and I enjoy it, it's a perfect movie for me, I have no argument. I mean, it's a subjective thing.
Yeah,
cool. It's totally awesome. And I don't hate any. I wouldn't hate on anybody for loving even trashy stuff, and this isn't trashy. So, yeah.
G.I. Joe.
I mean, if you have to,
Rise of Cobra. I mean, come on, dude. I mean,
I have to ignore certain things, right? Like terrible movie for me, but I think it might objectively be terrible too. So that one might be different.
I had a feeling it might.
Yeah, but I don't know.
No, but I mean, I think you said it. I think you said it right. I mean, fine. It's a good movie. It has a lot of good about it. Is it perfect? I don't know. Subjective. That's definitely subjective. And that's exactly what I was asking that question for. From your point of view, what does that mean to you? Is it part of? Do you agree with that, or why wouldn't you agree with that?
Marty's a dumbass in this movie. Like he is just absolutely an idiot, and he's basically got plot armor. So like, I don't know if that really qualifies the movie as like a perfect. I don't know. It depends on what you mean by perfect, I guess.
Well, he is kind of a dummy. I mean, that's I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Like, hey, dude, you're in the future, and oh yeah, you're gonna see your dad, and oh yeah, you already know your dad's. You kind of know your dad's story of him falling in our street and his grandpa running him over, but then you push him out of the way, knowing it. I mean, look, I get it's probably maybe it was a gut reaction and stuff like that, but come on.
Okay,
you think you would be a little bit more like thoughtful when it, or if you're in the future.
Yeah,
or in the past, I should say.
I'd wonder about the number of revisions the screenplay has, because the screenplay does a really good job of escalation, right? It's like every single time they have a small victory, something else goes wrong, right? It's like him with his parents in the past. It's like the film is just a constant escalation of problems, right? Culminating with the final lightning strike against the tower and all the hijinks that go along there. So it's like, and it seems like it's perfectly paced there. Mm-hmm. Like if you want to talk about perfect things that are in the movie, I think the pacing and the escalation was pretty close to perfect. It feels like, because it's not.
I agree.
It pretty much keeps you there and it keeps you invested, because there's always a new thing that's going wrong that they're having to solve. So that's pretty good.
I agree with the escalation. I was going to point that one out if you hadn't of when he's driving towards the hit the lightning. Marty's driving towards it, and Doc has that disconnected cable he's trying to hook back up. There's lots of escalation because it looks like he's going to do it and then he doesn't, and something worse goes wrong. The resolution of that is awesome.
Yeah, well, if you think about the movie, like go backwards through all the plot points in the movie, it's essentially that same idea over and over again, all the way back to the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
I can see that. Now that you pointed that out, I can see that now, especially like with, when he's about to, be lost in time because his dad hasn't kissed his mom yet, when he's playing the guitar. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a huge escalation right there. And then the payoff. and then to the next problem of now he's got to go to the DeLorean, and oh no, the cable is disconnected, and they've got to fix it really fast because it's coming up against time, and I can see all those time payoffs.
Back up one more. It's like, he's got to convince his dad that he should actually pursue his mom.
Yeah.
And he's like, and the guy's just like, no, I'm done. She likes you. I'm done. And he has to like, his solution to it is the whole sci-fi setup with Darth Vader from, where was he from?
Planet Vulcan.
Vulcan. Yeah. Planet Vulcan. Yeah. And so you just see like, it's like every time they get a win, they immediately get a get an escalation, and then they, have to get another win and stuff like that. Like I said, I think it's just a series of those across the entire movie, and I think it's well paced for that.
And there's lots of little fun payoffs, just like the one you just said too. Like throughout the movie, like the planet Vulcan, him in the radioactive suit, and then it pays off at the end. Also, when he shows his first book and it's the cover of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like that. There's lots of little kind of callbacks to different things said in the movie too.
Yeah. I think it's a real attention to detail. It's keeping up with all the little strands, and kind of keeping your head in, what problems you've created in the screenplay. And then making sure to tie those threads up. And that's what, like you said, it's well packaged because it ties just about everything up at the end.
Yes.
Really well. And it's like, even the ending itself is, again, an escalation. We just don't get the payoff till a second movie.
Fair enough. I fully agree with you on everything you said. And that's why, I mean, it's one of the reasons this is great. There's, tons of payoffs that, bring up your adrenaline, make you happy. Makes you want more, making you look at, the next situation around the corner.
I mean, maybe you could make an argument that the end resulting screenplay might be a perfect screenplay, like from just that aspect of it. Maybe you can make an argument there. I'm not sure. I'm not a screenwriter, but given the way the movie comes off and the attention to detail and how they wrap everything up narratively, mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see people claiming that if they know about screenplays and know how to write them. I'd be interested to know, like, if modern screenplays think that one is interesting and maybe a perfect screenplay or something.
And I know this did go through a lot of iterations. I mean, one of the famous iterations was what they were going to do with the DeLorean, or what they were going to do for the time machine. I mean, that just shows you that they were constantly churning and so like that. And if anybody hasn't put, that's where they get the refrigerator out of this one, That's what it was going to be in this one, which is funny because it's a callback they use Indiana Jones. Spielberg did with Indiana Jones when he's hiding in the refrigerator for the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous, though.
It was super.
That whole I forgot that movie existed. Thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome, John.
Horrible film. Oh my heavens! Like,
I could watch all of them like a million.
Let's take every bad part of Indiana Jones and put it into one film, and then what? Let's throw Shia LaBeouf in there too, just for kicks and giggles.
Just do it.
Like, that's what we're gonna do, and he's gonna be playing his role from Even Stevens. So, he's just gonna reprise that role in Indiana Jones. That's what that felt like. Oh,
yep.
It just needed Bean, and it would have been bad.
Bean? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
From he was also Even Stevens, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that little kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a horrible film.
Oh yeah, I actually saw it in the theater and I was like, what? Oh, come on. I wanted to like it. I wanted to. But no. Anywho, but yeah. Did you have any favorite parts in it, John? Anything that kind of spoke to you on this movie? That
I think we covered it with the Jiggawats. Like, that's probably one of my favorite scenes. When he finds, that whole, like, plutonium just doesn't kind of grow on trees type attitude, and that whole setup there, and then again, one of my favorite parts, which is just weird, but it's when he's like, my dad's a peeping Tom. Like, he just finally makes all the connections that you were like, oh. And you're like, we can't root for this guy anymore. You really don't want to root for him. not Marty, but his dad. And so, like, it's just, those are kind of my favorite scenes. And then I think another one is when Einstein is like, "You disintegrated Einstein," when he thinks the dog is gone and dead, and that was pretty great. So those are probably my favorites.
And I like that too. The whole part of like the whole time, I like how they kind of keep pointing out of like, why would Lorraine ever be with, why can't I think of his name right now? Crispin Glover's character, the dad. Why would he ever be with the McFly? Yeah. Why, and they kind of keep bringing that up and kind of making fun of it. Like, yeah, why?
Well, I actually, if you notice, Doc drops a reason while they're in the school looking for him.
Florence Nightingale syndrome.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the only explanation they give for the whole thing.
Yeah, I love it. Right, but he goes, "What do your parents do with each other?" And he's like, "Nothing." Oh, that's funny. I can relate to that sometimes with certain people in my life.
Well, she's an alcoholic. She's an alcoholic for a reason. And I love how they aged her up too.
Yeah,
it was just so like, oh man.
They really make him look pretty pitiful at the beginning, of that movie. And one of my favorite lines is still to this day was, "Oh, Pop, time to change the oil." When he kisses his head. I love that. And then his little laugh anyway. That's good stuff right there. As his mom's drinking alcohol and he's eating peanut brittle.
Yeah. So, random thing.
Okay.
Have you guys heard of the controversy around this movie with Chuck Berry?
No.
Sort of controversy. I don't think it's a big controversy, but it's so that lick that he's playing when Marty's on stage and stuff like that, that's Chuck Berry, right? He's just playing. And and like then they have, the guy call Chuck Berry and say, "Hey, that new sound, here it is." So basically Chuck Berry pretty much, obviously wrote Johnny Be Good and, has been like, pretty much co-opted by all rock and roll since he did that, right?
Yeah.
And so you have suddenly a retelling of it where a white kid,
where white guys come in and
shows a legendary black guitarist basically teaches him his sound. So it's like a whitewashing of Chuck Berry's sound, which was probably not the intention, I would guess, but yeah.
I can't see it being the intention, If it is, that's crazy. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like it was supposed to be just a funny note type thing,
Maybe.
Well, you hope.
It just might want to be one of those blind spots on like, hey, this is kind of important to a certain culture, and like, maybe you shouldn't take credit for it, especially with the history of people taking credit for other cultures, achievements, basically getting famous on it. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it's kind of a curious
interesting
thing.
I have never heard of that before, actually. That is very interesting. Huh. But I can see why people would be up in arms about that. I mean, that is.
I don't think there's like a huge backlash. I'm not sure that Back to the Future is such a cultural touchstone that people are like, this is white appropriation and the movie is evil because of it. It's just it's weird that the screenwriters went that way with it, and a lot of people are curious about why write that into the movie that way, right?
Yeah. That is very interesting. I would read more into it if it was for Zemeckis when he's done other movies in his life, has maybe done other things like that. But
Zemeckis isn't the screenwriter.
I thought he was one of them.
I'm sure he's one of them.
Yeah.
I
can't remember who the screenwriter. All of them were. I know it was Zemeckis, and then now I'm gonna look.
Like I said, I don't think it's a big issue. I don't think people are having marches over it or anything like that.
No,
I think it's just more along the lines of like another like needle or straw in the haystack or whatever else. So
it was Bob Gale and Zemeckis.
Okay. Yeah.
I know the name Bob Gale. He's been a partner of Zemeckis's for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's written a lot of them with him.
Well, plus, and just from like a causal situation, it's like a weird link of like this kid from the future knows Johnny B. Good and plays it, and then the guy who wrote it heard it and then made it so that the kid it's a total time loop.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I feel like there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, they were paying. I don't know. A lot. You look at that and it's like, oh man, you could easily get in way of some of this stuff. Like even when he was going and, trying to stop Doc Brown from dying and stuff like that, he could have easily gotten in the way of a lot of stuff. That what would have happened? Would he have broke the universe? I don't know. I thought of it. It actually did cross my mind like a few times. Like, would he break the universe if it didn't happen? That he. But what's one thing that really kind of broke my brain for a minute? He is, with the DeLorean, he's running it by remote control. This is just Josh's dumb brain going, by the way, and he has it with remote control, and he doesn't have to shift gears, but yet he's driving it, and they're shifting gears. When Marty goes, let's see if this sucker can do 90,
Right.
And stuff. It was like, how did he do that? I don't know, just one of those things that they just didn't think of.
It probably wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the effort to try to explain to the audience.
Explain, how it's
it's
automatic now.
Yeah.
Like I said, just a dumb brain Josh going on there.
Although, man, I wonder how much he had to practice with that remote control to get those like donut turns and and everything else on that thing from a remote.
Well, he definitely over-exaggerates in a few spots. Like the last one where he does the whole jumping back into time, and they, and when he does like the turn right when Einie comes back, and he really accentuates that turn on the remote control.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. I think I also heard during that scene too. Come to think of it, did you know that the flames that they do when the car goes into the future, that was kind of a last minute thing.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute insert. They weren't planning on doing it. Someone came up with the idea of like, that'd be cool.
Well, it was like, what are these things on the back? They exhaust, I don't know, dry ice?
Just two fire extinguishers.
Yeah, 2 fire extinguishers for some reason out the back of it. So it's like, okay.
two little interns stuck in the trunk, and they're like, okay, hit it now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure 1985 they had a remote electronics, John. So
yeah, but interns are cheaper.
Well,
the whole unpaid interns, like,
oh my goodness.
And then, I don't know. And then somebody looked at it, or someone's kid looked at it, because that's totally what a 10-year-old would do. Those look like boosters. Let's put fire out of them. Like if you were playing with cars, that's totally what you would do. You would imagine those actually being the engines. And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll just have flames come out of them now.
Yeah, why not?
It works.
Yeah, why not?
Looks awesome. Fire.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about with this movie?
I'm good.
Only one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
How slow was that electricity?
Oh, geez, yeah.
The lightning strike.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they forget time travel. They invented how to slow down the speed of light.
Yeah, I know that's crossed my mind a few times in the past. I mean, but you had to have a really cool graphic of it following the.
I mean, it's rule of cool for sure.
It's really cool. Definitely.
It's totally rule of cool.
Absolutely.
Oh, and one other thing.
What's up?
We know where Doc Brown would come in the GIF versus GIF debate.
Do we?
Jiggawats.
Gigawatt versus gigawatt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
is unfortunate. He's wrong.
I mean, he made the right choice. Because they're not called giraffes.
And I love that
I'm
whole
trolling
thing.
John.
Oh, I know.
I
know. Because I know you're wrong fundamentally, so it's okay.
I didn't know that was a thing between you two. Or for John.
No, I could care less either way.
Yeah, I don't
I
believe
couldn't care less. I apologize. Yeah, I got to say it right.
I don't believe you.
A lot of people like that. That whole scene drives them crazy that it says gigawatt because it was supposed to be
Gigawatts!
it's supposed to be gigawatts in the
It's great.
actual.
There's
Really great.
there's a fantastic synthesizer and MIDI combination keyboard thing called the OP1, and this guy took that soundbite, the gigawatts, 21 gigawatts, and built this whole song around it. I'll have to send you the link to it, but it's freaking awesome. So I love
amazing.
that sound clip.
It sounds like right up there with the guy who has like a bajillion floppy disks and he makes sounds out of or music out of the bajillion floppy disks out there. If you haven't seen that, then you got to look.
Slightly different, yeah, than what he was talking about.
I know,
they
but
both
still.
involve music. So
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, their music that's doing the MIDI stuff, and this one that just reminded me of that guy that does that weird thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. That's awesome. There's a lot of little things in this movie that are really, along these lines.
Yep.
And stuff that are just fun. Ronald Reagan, the actor.
I'm with him there on that one. So yeah.
I just love funny little snippets like that. It's just so funny. But very much a product of its time. But I think overall this movie has aged very well.
What's your rating then?
In many aspects. Let's do the ratings. For me, for the ratings, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 out of time moments.
All right.
And I really like this movie. It's definitely one of my favorites of all time.
But
and I own it twice, actually.
Okay. Twice, of course.
I had it on DVD and I had it on Blu-ray.
All right. Fair enough.
I wouldn't watch this with my mom because
just
awkward scenes. I'm just like, I'm good. I don't need to relive that. Don't need to even think about that. Right. Not that there's any issue. It's just weird scenes, and it's just like, you know what? I'm good. I can pass.
It makes me laugh on some of your ratings because some of the movies that you said you would watch with your mom versus like ones like this, I was like, you would? And then this one, it's like pretty mainstream, pretty low level. And it's like, you wouldn't. I'm like, what? Thanks for keeping us on our toes, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Crit, what's up with you, man? What's your rating?
Give it 13 out of 23. Make like a tree and get out of here.
Yes, very nice. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I said those all the time, just to my friends and stuff like that. We loved Biff's wrong sayings all the time. So, anyways, all right, guys, that's our ratings. I think that was a very fun pick, just a fun throwback and very enjoyable. And let's go for. Let's see, Crit, you have the picks for this week, don't you?
I do.
I am very interested to hear what they are. And if you don't know what they are, I think we say it in this one already. They're movies that remind us of somebody else in the podcast. So,
right. All right. So, number 1, making an entertaining show is hard work.
Okay.
Number 2, the rules will keep you safe. And number 3, super fans are super useful.
Okay, I think I know 1 and 3.
Ooh, if you know 1, that would be amazing. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure I know 1. I'll guess it if we don't pick it, or regardless, I'll guess it before you.
Okay.
So 1 or 3 was gonna be my ones that were driving.
I would love 3. I think if I'm pretty sure what 3 is, but I would.
What was 3 again of the picks?
Super fans are super useful.
Oh, let's do 3.
Okay.
I think it sounds good. That was one of the ones I was leaning a little bit harder towards.
All right.
Okay, so my guess for number 1 is it the producers?
Oh no.
Oh dang.
So, making an entertaining show is hard work. Noise is off.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it like the producers. It's based on a play, so
Okay.
you were close.
Noise is off.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's got who was Christopher Reeves, and
Really?
yeah, it's a really great show.
Okay.
I'll try to
And
get
it's
you
an
up with
actual
that later.
movie?
Yeah, it's an actual movie. It's got
He just picked something. He picked a book for his
Well,
pick.
no, what I mean is like it could have been like just like a filmed play or something like that. That's
no,
what
it's
I'm
not a
asking.
filmed play. Yeah, It's
Okay.
an actual movie. It's got Michael Caine in it, Carol Burnett.
Oh, I love both those.
Yeah,
people.
it's an all-star cast, and it is an amazing show. But we'll have to do that some other time.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have it back on this list. Number 2. Oh, and that one. Okay, so that one was for everyone. Basically,
A comedy of
Noses
errors
off.
type deal.
Yeah, and it's about this podcast. So yeah,
Okay.
I thought of everybody on that one. All right, so number 2, the rules will keep you safe. This one is for John, and that is the first Scream.
Oh.
Okay.
So John's a very rule aware person, and he likes horror movies. So I thought that this made me think of him.
Okay.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Very
I
cool.
can see that.
I can see that as well.
Yep. And number
That's a
3, the
good
one you
pick for me.
picked, super fans are super useful. Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
No way.
Yep. I knew it.
Did you really?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't hide that one too much.
No, that one was like super fans are useful. I'm like, that's.
just
We've already
didn't
talked
hand
about it once.
And you
I'm like,
guys mentioned it in this podcast, and I was
yeah.
like,
So I was
be
just
quiet.
like, okay. Yep. No, I got that one. At least.
I didn't, but I'm glad we picked it. I love Galaxy Quest.
Oh, I love it. I think there's a lot to talk about.
I think there is too.
Culture, like it's gonna be great.
Yep.
There's a lot of fun
Cool.
stuff to talk about. And we tried to get it on here a couple of times, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yep.
We've had, I think, and a couple of us have had it in their picks.
Yeah, when I had the Alan Rickman picks, I think that was in there.
Okay. All right. So that's exciting. I can't wait to watch Galaxy Quest and stuff. And I own it. oh, getting ahead of myself. No. Let's see. We need to talk about next month's genre on here, which is coming from me. And this is one that I can't believe we haven't had it on here yet. In all honesty, it's someone that we've talked about, and we all enjoy. I know most of us enjoy. I think you do, John.
Vintage romances, is that what we're going for here?
What's that?
Vintage
You're-
romances?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's
you know it,
funny.
man. That's
Every choice is Little Women.
Just some kind of Jane Austen film. Like it's Jane Austen month.
Just a different. All of us are picking Little Women for all
Yeah.
3 of our picks, and they're just different versions from different times.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be great.
your favorite Little Woman
Genre,
or Les
Little Women.
Miserables.
Yeah, Little Women or Les Miserables. Like you're going from one extreme to another. You're going from French Revolution or French aristocracy. One of the two.
They're gonna throw some Monty Python in there with the Spanish Inquisition. So
Is it a
I didn't think
sci-fi
that was a
genre?
I didn't think that was a romance, but all right.
No. Oh my goodness. No. Okay. So the thing that I can't believe we haven't had in here is martial arts films.
Okay.
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
that we all enjoy some martial arts films. So that's the one I've been thinking about. That we need to pick our favorite martial arts films.
Karate Cop. Or
That's
sorry, not Karate Cop.
There's a
Whoops.
lot of
Kindergarten
trash.
Cop.
Oh
There we
god.
Oh,
There's a
geez.
lot of. I think that's not a martial arts film. Come
Oh,
on.
he does martial arts in it. That's his whole
Yeah,
thing.
Okay. All right. I guess if we're throwing wide, and you get to pick from whatever, but I wouldn't consider that a martial arts film.
What
I
about
would let you
Teenage
know
Mutant
if
Ninja
that
Turtles?
What
that
you
is
would
actually
normally
about
think of as
martial
like a
arts, but yes.
martial arts movie, like a Jackie Chan or
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Steven Seagal or
Well, it's not about the actor. It's actually
No.
about
I'm just
the
throwing out
subject
there.
of the film.
It's subject to the film. It's it's one of those. It's just one that's got quite a
So
bit
wait, are
of
we
martial arts
talking
in it.
about that it's the subject of the film, like the martial arts itself, or is it just a film that is heavily vested with martial arts? Like,
Oh God, I got to get you guys to watch Only the Strong. Somehow, I'm gonna have to trick you guys into picking that one.
Well, trick us into it. Okay.
It's the capoeira film.
oh gosh, yeah,
It's
the
set in Florida. I've got to figure out how to do
dance
that.
fighting.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I was thinking, along the line of a true martial arts movies, but I wasn't against a movie that's has heavy martial arts influence into it.
Right. So, like, would you consider Matrix a martial arts film?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's when I'm not sure.
I mean, it's Hollywood kung fu, but that's not what I'm looking for most part.
I got you. We should throw it wide. It's whatever we pick from.
Yeah.
Like that. But I think that'll make an interesting discussion. So, yeah, great genre.
And
Only the Strong is on YouTube in its entirety. Do with that what you want.
I bet it is.
Oh,
you
my
can't watch
goodness.
it beforehand. You're gonna ruin it.
Now you've tempted him.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. I guess if you have to watch it
the
twice, that'll
forbidden
be even
fruit.
better for me.
I wouldn't watch it twice. It doesn't sound like a film I would ever subject myself to more than once.
Judge a book by its cover, John. Come on.
Judge a book by its dance fighting.
Oh, I want there to be a dance fight in there. Break dance fighting.
There's
as
nothing
well.
but dance fighting in there. So.
Dance fighting, and there's got to be hopefully break dance fighting in there too.
Well, there
Just
is.
like
There's a
Zoolander.
couple of movies that have break dance fighting in it.
Yeah, like Zoolander.
Yeah. Okay, there's a martial arts film. Okay. Anyway.
Oh God!
All right.
No.
Now
well,
you're
I
a
think it's
martial
going to be
arts purist.
I think it's going to be interesting because of the generalized martial arts and that. I'm interested in what you guys will interpret that as. So
I think all mine will just be Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3.
Oh,
2 and 3.
geez.
Yeah.
I guess it
or
qualifies.
was it Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Night?
Shanghai Nude?
Just do the buddy movies, all the Jackie Chan buddy movies.
Oh my heck! Maybe I shouldn't have picked this one. I mean,
No, it's good. We're done. We're doing it. I've already got
Let's
a
do
couple of B movies in mind.
oh, that's awesome. I had a feeling you probably would.
I expect you guys to come with the Hollywood blockbusters. I'm going for the B movies on martial arts.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. All right. All right. Well, I can't wait to watch this movie. What was it again? Oh yeah, Galaxy Quest. Just had a brain fart really fast. Galaxy Quest next week, and then next month we've got martial arts movies. And guys, it's been a fun conversation. I've enjoyed every minute of it tonight. And to everybody out there listening, I hope you enjoyed what we're doing as well. Thank you for supporting our channel. And if you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. Let the YouTube algorithm know, we're doing good as well. And as always, may you be excellent to each other and live long and prosper. From all of us here at Josh's House of Nerds, have a good night.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.